Okay, I'm here.
We were calling your other office number that I have on your business card. So, and then I looked at my phone. It's a different number. So Ben Darnell is my co-host. So, and let me introduce you because he's also the program director here, and he's in charge of all the UConn sports that run through the radio.
Yeah, I've probably seen you 1,000 times, but never been able to talk to you. Pleasure.
Well, you might have. I've been here 60 years. Oh man, 40 years in baseball and 35 in football.
But you awesome. So you went to New Britain High.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. So
hard hitting New Britain, baby.
Hard hitting New Britain. Oh man. We're gonna have to talk to you multiple times because you're so fascinating. It's not even funny.
Well, just like baseball alone, my first job was at the University of Michigan. I coached. Don Lund was our head coach. Bill Freehand was our catcher at that time.
Oh, my God.
Dude.
Then East Catholic High School, then UConn, then Falmouth in the Cape League, then up in Canada. I coached Team USA 3 times. I coached the Dutch national team. So, I've been all over the place. then I spent the last 2 decades at Dodge Stadium with the Yankees, the Giants, the Tigers, and now with the Unicorns in the Futures League.
Has anybody written a book on you?
Yeah.
Why don't you get with Dom Amori and write it? No, you have to. You have way too much history.
Everybody tells me that, but one of my alums told me this. He said, "Coach, the book was written on you. We are your book."
True. That's true. But still, there's so many. Like, I'm fascinated by it because it's just amazing. I love this stuff. That's why I loved my John Fontana. You know that. I mean,
God, yes. Hey, how about this one? At Dodge Stadium, they used the casino used to bring in the Hall of Famers over there for a show, and then they'd have a home run derby. So one night I got to pitch to Mike Schmidt, Gary Carter, Carlton Fisk, Johnny Bench, Dave Winfield, George Brett, and your buddy George Foster, Jim Rice, Fingers, Dawson, through all of those guys. And then they thanked me, and they said, "What can we do for you?" I said, "I kneel at home plate. You stand behind me. We take a picture. That's all I want."
Oh, my God. You're
How about Winfield? He takes 10 swings, hits 5 out. I said, "When's the last time you hit?" He says, "I don't know, 7 years ago. I just played golf."
That's awesome.
That guy was an athlete. Oh, my God.
Oh, boy. What's 3 sports?
Yep.
3 sports.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no question. But I had a good life, a lot of good experiences, been around a lot, and saw the whole world, like all those times with Team USA, been all over the whole world.
Well, and the reason, sir, I wanted to call you is about your friend Lou Perkins. Take me back to when you meet Lou Perkins, and because basically you're the 2 godfathers of UConn sports.
I don't know about that.
No, you absolutely are. So let me start with Lou and starting the football program from where you guys started. Let's start there and take us from that point forward.
Well, he did an unbelievable thing for baseball too. If it weren't for him, we would not have Jimmy Penders doing what he's doing right now too. You got to bring that one up.
All right. So I'll bring that up after. So just let's start with talk about the football side of Lou Perkins.
Okay. Well, first with Lou Perkins, I got a phone call from Lou Holtz, because I coached with him way back at UConn, and he said, "Skip is ready to be a head coach, and there's an opening up there. He's got to get an interview." So, of course, I went to Lou and said Lou Holtz called and about Skip and so forth, and he interviewed him, and Lou Perkins hired him. And Skip did a heck of a job. We were 1AA at that time, but he did a real good job. And then, obviously, when he left, that's when Lou, hired Randy Etzel. And then from there, everything. We were still 1AA at that time, and then we made the transition. And I joined the program in 2003, and we were 9-3 that year, but we couldn't go to a bowl because we weren't conference affiliated yet. The next year we're 8-4, and we did go to a bowl, Motor City Bowl, and it was and Lou Perkins, he wanted to get it done. He'd give you full support. His expectations were high, but he'd give you full assistance. And if you messed something up, he'd let you know about it too. I mean, he was a no nonsense guy, but he had visions of doing everything first class, and that was my experience with him. And it's the same thing with me. When I hit age 65 in 2003, he and Randy came to me and they said, we're going to 1A football. And the next level over there, and if you retired now at age 65, the state was offering a couple extra years towards retirement. Then he said you can get a nice package there, and we know how much you love football, and you can come back and you can really help us on a part-time basis. And I said, part-time doing what? And they said, well, number one, to stay in touch with all our football alumni, because that hadn't been really done. I'm in touch with 1,300 alumni, by the way, and through a lot of different means. And your affiliation with all the things you've done in baseball, you be the NFL liaison. And, when being the NFL liaison at that level, you entertain 75 to 100 visits a year. And you know all the high school coaches. You can be the liaison with the high school coaches. And, we can do the clinics and be the liaison with those people. And then with your connections, you can do a little bit of the community service with the kids. And the other thing, too, is helping the kids on networking. I've done several career fairs and so forth with all those guys. And it was really nice. But by doing that, I was still able to stick with baseball in the summertime, down at Dodge Stadium. So that was my experience right there. But he got us going. There was no question, and you saw what happened after that. We had several runs over there that were outstanding. Beating Notre Dame at Notre Dame, beating South Carolina in a bowl game, really putting a whipping on Wake Forest. I mean, we had some big time wins. How about back-to-back wins against Baylor? And really got that thing going. And thank you, Lou Perkins.
We've had some lean years in this football program, but not anymore, as Jim Mora Jr. has really changed people's minds about that program of last year's showing and going to a bowl game. And I've heard a rumor about you and those 1,300 alumni that you contact from the football team, that those are all handwritten messages. And that I just find that awesome and just the way you should do it. How easier are those handwritten messages to write this offseason than it has been in the past?
It just keeping people informed with the program and staying in touch with them. Like during the pandemic, I made over 800 phone calls, even to some guys that even were played here before I've been here. And to give you an example, like over 700 of those guys have been back for individual tours of the facilities, too. And one outstanding one was one fella called. He said, my dad is turning 100 years old, and he played there many, many years ago. Could he get a tour? Brought him up, put him in a wheelchair, wheeled him around. He said, that's the best birthday present I got. Awesome. But just staying in touch with all of those people, keeping them all in the loop, and via the newsletters. For example, I was doing like 5 newsletters a year, and I'd hand address the envelopes, put a little note in there. Hey, Charlie, haven't seen you in quite a while. Come on up to visit. But just a hand-addressed envelope instead of a email and all that type of thing. And I think that was very, very important. And, me being the old-timer there and knowing all these people and so forth, so when someone passes on, I'm the one who would go out and send the, sympathy card or go to the wake or call the family or whatever. And I just have great enjoyment keeping in touch with all those people.
Talking to Andy Baylock, he is Director of Football Alumni and Community Affairs for UConn, but take us back 24 years, the head coach before Jim Penders. When did you meet little Jim Penders? How did he get his start, and how did Lou Perkins help in where the baseball program is today?
Okay, well, starting off this way, when J.O. Christian was the head baseball, we've only had 4 coaches since 1936. Right. When J.O. Christian was the head baseball coach, Larry Pansiera was his full-time assistant. Then when Larry Pansiera became the head coach, I was his full-time assistant, along with being in football. And then when I became the head coach, I had part-time help for 20 years. I did not have a full-time assistant. But in 1999, thank you, Lou Perkins, he said, whoa, we're going to do something about this. He made Jimmy Penders at that time was, and by the way, he was probably the best captain I ever had, too. He was my graduate assistant. And, that's a 2-year period. And that finished up, and that's when I made that retirement over there. And he became, he became full-time in 1999, so I had him for 3 years as a full-time assistant. And then in 2003, when I retired, Jeff Hathaway took over as AD, but he was Lou's longtime associate. And he hired Jimmy as the head coach, and probably that's the best hire he ever made. And look where Jimmy's taken that program. I am so proud of what he's done with that program. I just beam about it. And so that's the way the baseball program has gone.
Speaking on that, like, how wild is it to see them in the NCAA tournament with all the television that it gets, all the notoriety that it gets, and not to mention all the superstars that have come out of this program, even beyond 1999 and Jimmy Penders, but just where this program is right now, considered the rest of the major baseball programs all across the country. We have to be one of the top 5, if not the top 1 in this area of the country.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, and then to add to that, you got the brand new facility, too, which doesn't hurt things either. But we've always been pretty good in baseball. I've had some pretty good guys play for me. I had Charles Nagy, Pete Walker, who's still a pitching coach over there, Jason Grabowski, Jeff Volchino, Jesse Carlson. All these guys played in the big leagues, and so we've always had, pretty good success. But Jimmy's taken it to another level right now. And, and his staff, I really enjoy it because his assistants are all my former players. And the thing I love about Jimmy Penders, he doesn't cheat, he doesn't cut corners, he doesn't compromise integrity, and he is an extremely eloquent person. He's a great representative of this university and that baseball program. Now, I coached his dad in the 60s and threw batting practice to him. I coached this Jimmy, and he was my captain. Now I'm coaching Jimmy's son because I'm a part-time helper over at Eastern Connecticut. He's a catcher first. So 3 generations throwing BP to the same family.
Well, and Andy, so tell people what you're doing. You're 85 years old. You throw more batting practice than I'll ever throw, and you do it every week. So tell people what you do on a weekly basis as, throwing BP and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've spent the last 7 seasons over at Eastern Connecticut. It's only 10 minutes from my house, as a volunteer, and I throw BP over there, and then the same thing over at Dodge Stadium. But I'm good for about 300 repetitions, 3-4 times a week. But not like everybody does now. Like you watch the home run derby, the guys, they run up and they flip the ball up there. That's for exercise. I use a glove. I come to the set position, and if you're going to get 8 repetitions, you're going to get 8 looks out of the set position. You'll get a 4-seam fastball, and if you want to work middle in or middle away, I'll work you that way. If you want to mix in there and just drop in a change up here and there or a cutter or whatever, I can do that. And it's a gift because I don't even warm up. My first pitch is a 4-seamer right down the middle. And it's a gift. And the only thing, people say, how's your arm? My arm's fine, but my feet hurt. But I love doing it. It's great exercise, and it just keeps. And one of the guys told me, he said, you're the only 85-year-old guy in the world who's throwing that kind of batting practice.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
I don't know. You have to be. You have to be. All right, speak on being a multi-sport athlete, not just back in the day, but why it's important this day and age for high school kids to get their body used to different movements in different sports other than just specializing on one thing.
I would totally agree with that. That's cross-training. I totally agree with it. And the big thing if you're playing in multiple sports, you learn to be a decision maker because you have to make different decisions as a soccer player, a football player, a baseball player, a basketball player. But you give you a variety of looks over there, too. And the cross-training of the physical aspects of your body. It's just like with baseball. For example, I believe in symmetrical balance. If someone said, hey, here's my 12-year-old son, would you work him out in hitting? Sure, let's put up the tee over there. All right, son, take 10 reps on the tee, you're a right-hander, okay. Now turn around and take a half a dozen left-handed. Let them go both sides. And I do that with our college kids, too. I let them do that. Maybe you might find a switch hitter out of that. But if not, at least you're training the body on both sides. I totally agree with that, multiple sports. You get bogged down in one and I don't know. I'm not. And people say, no, I got to play year round. I don't like that. I'd like to see people play multiple sport. Definitely.
As far as, like you said, talking about the cross training, but that's the toughest thing for me to teach younger kids is the mental aspect of preparing themselves for when the ball's hit to them. What do I do with it? They even watching games in the major leagues, they continually make the same mistakes over and over and over because they don't want to do infield and outfield. I mean, how important is preparing for, I don't care if it's football, baseball, any sport, how important, Andy, is the mental aspect of these sports?
Well, the mental aspect goes along with the physical preparation. Like, for example, over at Eastern, we had a couple of real good coaches over there that I've been working with over there. Brian Ham, he's now the head coach over at Yale. Yeah. And right now we got a young Mike Odenwalder. And both of those guys are excellent fundamentalists. Like infielders with ground balls, they'll start from the bare minimum, getting guy down on a knee, all these little lead-up type things. And the same thing with base running and so forth. And they're very well trained. The problem, sometimes now, like with this travel ball and so forth that's going on, they don't practice. They play a lot of games.
Right.
Like one young fellow told me, I played 60 games last summer. I said, yeah, how many practices? Well, not too many. Well, how many at-bats do you get? Well, maybe 3 or 4 in a game. Well, how many times do you swing the bat? Whatever in the game. Have you picked up a couple hundred ground balls in practice? Well, we have a pregame infield. Well, repetition is the mother of all learning.
Yes. Yeah.
And if you want to get good at something, repeat it. Repeat that fundamental over and over and over and over. And then you're going to get pretty good at it. And that's what I see happening right now, too, And the other thing that bothers me, too, is that there's so much micromanaging going on, too, and, the pitch calling and so forth. First pitch. And if a guy swings it, 0-1, now you can go low middle, level the ball. 2-0, and go a different area. And Don was I love that guy, that pitching coach for a long. He passed away, but he was with the Brewers and so forth, and he was really good with that.
I knew Don when I was with the Brewers.
Excuse me?
I knew Don Rowe when I was with the Brewers.
Yeah, good man.
He's
good man,
guy.
And I learned a lot from that man.
Give me an expectation for 2023 football this year. 6-7 last year, bowl appearance. What are you expecting from this year's team?
The way these kids prepare, Rob, I absolutely love going to practice. There isn't a pickle puss out there. You know what a pickle puss is? A guy with that frown look on the face. Every kid's got that inspirational little grin on their face. They go 100 miles an hour. They practice hard. They are fun to watch. And that is an attitude, and that's the attitude that's put into them by Jim Mora and his staff. And they're exciting. And the thing that I love about Jim Mora, he's a real football coach. And give you an example. 18-year-old kid messes up on the field. We played with 4 18-year-old kids last year.
Yeah.
Come off the field, get chewed out. You screw up, you get chewed out. But before the kid leaves, he gets a great big hug. Yep. And to me, that's coaching. Because that kid now will run through the wall for that coach. And that's the way he and his staff are. And so there's one sign over in the locker room that says, we're not preparing real hard to beat somebody. We're preparing real hard to beat everybody.
That's awesome.
Love that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love the guy. And I love what he's doing with this program right here. And he just wants to get it back on track again.
Well, Andy, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show, and we're definitely going to catch up soon. And personally, I'll catch up with you soon. I'll give you a call. Thank you so much, Andy.
My pleasure. 3rd and 1, just give it to the fullback. And if he doesn't make a yard, don't let him back in a huddle. Because you can't make a yard, you can't play.
Keep it simple.
Absolutely. Keep it simple. And you just nailed, that's why I'm getting out of travel ball. Because these kids don't practice. And they don't want to practice.
Right.
And it's they just want to go to tournament. Let's go to tournaments. I'm like, so we were in a tournament in Southington last year. The kid threw a perfect game against us. And I said to my team, you want me to take you back to my hometown to get perfect gamed?
Yeah.
You're out of your mind.
Yeah.
You're not going to any more tournaments. So I did take him to a couple tournaments this year. But it's just their attitude is just about showcasing. Right. Everything's showcasing.
No, you got to learn.
Right. And listen, I'm a big believer in that. Throwing BP, hitting off the tee hundreds and hundreds of times will make you a better player, not playing games. I think
Amen.
At the lower levels. Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yep. All right, let's try to hook up, man. Let me know your schedule so we can try to do dinner or something.
All right. Sounds good, Rob.
All right. Thank you, Andy.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
All right. I appreciate it. Yep. Bye-bye.
What a dude.